Hi there. Welcome to this lecture series on matrix algebra. This is lecture 31, part 2. The topic is positive definite symmetric matrices. In part 1, we introduced the definition for positive definite matrices and quadratic forms, and we had some examples. And now we continue our discussion, and in particular in this part we'll introduce the Sylvester's theorem. Let's get started. From the discussion in part 1, now this leads to the following theorem on positive definite matrices. So the statement is the following. Now let A be an n by n symmetric matrix with an eigenvalues, n eigenvalues, lambda 1, lambda 2 to lambda n. Then the matrix A will be positive semi-definite if all the eigenvalues are bigger than or equal to 0, positive definite if they are strictly bigger than 0, indefinite if their signs are mixed, some are positive, some are negative, and is negative semi-definite if they are less than or equal to 0, and negative definite if they are strictly less than 0. So we see the connection between the eigenvalues of the matrix to the positive or negative definite property of the same matrix. So the proof would be very simple because we already know that we can diagonalize the A matrix and use that to change variable from x to y. And with this change of variable, change of coordinate, this quadratic form xtax would be ytd times y, where the d is a diagonal matrix with the eigenvalues along the diagonal. And if you write out, that will just be the sum of lambda I times yi square. So with this expression, the conclusion of the theorem is straightforward. Indeed, we see that if all the lambdas are bigger than or equal to 0, and then this form is bigger than or equal to 0, and that gives you positive semi-definite, and so on and so forth. Now let's take a look at an example. And let's consider a matrix A. It's a 3 by 3 matrix. And we can do the calculation and find the 3 eigenvalues, lambda 1, lambda 2, and lambda 3. And they are 4, and 5, and 7. So what's important here are they are all positive. What that means is that we can perform a change of variable. We can define another coordinate y, and such that this quadratic form in that coordinate becomes this quadratic form where D is a diagonal matrix with the 3 eigenvalues on the diagonal. And then the quadratic form takes this form, and then we see that the matrix A is positive definite because for y not all 0, this expression is strictly bigger than 0. Example number 2, look at the matrix B, which is this. So after computing the eigenvalues, we found out that lambda 1 is negative 1, lambda 2 is 0, and lambda 3 is 2. So we see that they have mixed sign. Lambda 1 is less than 0, and lambda 3 is bigger than 0. So again, performing a change of variable, the quadratic form can be written in a coordinate that has this D, a diagonal matrix in the middle. So x transpose bx, the quadratic form, can be written as yt times d times y, where the D is a diagonal matrix with negative 1, 0, and 2. So if you write out the quadratic form, it takes this form. Then we see that for certain y's, this expression can be negative, and for certain y's, this expression can be positive, and therefore the matrix B is indefinite. Now we come to the highlight of this part of the lecture, that is, we wish to find a criterion that will guarantee that our matrix is positive definite. So this theorem is due to Sylvester, and then here is a painting of him with the long beard and crazy looking hair, very much an image of a wise scholar. So the theorem statement is the following. So let's say we have a matrix. It's symmetric, and we can form something called the principal submatrices as following. So the first one will be taking just one, so it's 1 by 1, and the second submatrix will be taking a 2 by 2 by including 1 row and 1 column, and then the third one will be 3 by 3, and so on and so forth, and then the last one will contain the whole A matrix. Okay, so Sylvester's theorem says the following. A symmetric matrix A is positive semi-definite if and only if all the principal submatrices AK will have determinant bigger than equal to 0. And there is the counterpart, that is, and we can show that it is positive definite, not semi-definite, if we require the determinant to be strictly bigger than 0. Now, the proof for the Sylvester theorem for the general case n is a very complicated matter. Here we offer a proof for a simple case where n equals 2. And then we write our A matrix to be this one. So it's symmetric, so B and B is the same, and we have A and C on the diagonal. So let's prove for the case that's positive definite. Positive semi-definite is very much the same argument, but with some details, just slightly more complicated. Okay, so what we want to prove is the following. So we want to prove that the following statements are equivalent. So first one is eigenvalue lambda 1, lambda 2 are both strictly bigger than 0. And the second statement is those and determinant of those two matrices, the submatrices are principal submatrices are bigger than 0. So A is strictly bigger than 0. That will be the first one. And then the second one is the determinant of this 2 by 2 matrix, which is AC minus B squared, is strictly bigger than 0. Let's now try to have a kind of a proof, and a short half-page proof. So we see that condition 2 here, especially here, you would have AC strictly bigger than B squared, which is a non-negative quantity. So it's bigger than equal to 0. And then, since we said A is bigger than 0, and then we can conclude that C is bigger than 0. And now recall a property of the eigenvalue and the trace. The eigenvalue, the sum of the eigenvalue lambda 1 plus lambda 2 will be the trace of the matrix, which is the sum of the two diagonal elements, A plus C. And A is bigger than 0, C is bigger than 0, so this is bigger than 0. And furthermore, we also have the property that the product of the eigenvalues is the determinant. That is, lambda 1 times lambda 2 will be the determinant of A, which is strictly bigger than 0. Now we see that we have lambda 1, lambda 2, the sum is bigger than 0, and the product is also bigger than 0. And therefore, we conclude there's only one possibility, that is, they are both bigger than 0. Now let's take an example. Let's consider the matrix A. Look in this way, so it's symmetric, it's 3 by 3. We can now compute the determinants of the principal submatrices. So the first one will be just this number 1, that's 1. And then the second one will be taking one row and one column will be this one. So 1, 4, 4, 17. And the determinant will be 17 minus 16. That's 1. And then the third one is the determinant of this 3 by 3 matrix. And that is 0. So we see that the determinant of these three principal submatrices are bigger than 0, equal to 0. And then the matrix A is positive semi-definite, but not positive definite because of this 0. And we can write out the quadratic form, that is x transpose times A times x, and you work out the product and you can write it into this form. And there's also a quick way of finding this would be in front of x1 square is this first diagonal, and in front of x2 square is the second diagonal, and in front of x3 square is this third diagonal. And then in front of x1 and x2 will be the twice of these two, a12 and a21. And then in front of x2 and x3 will be the sum of these two, so it's -6. And then the other one is 0, so we don't take it. So we can write this into squares. We see that we have an x1 square, and then we have 8 x1 x2. And then for this, if we add a 16 x2 square, we make a square like that. And then taking out 16 out of 17, we'll have x2 square and a 9x3 square and minus 6x2 x3, and that is again the square is x2 minus 3x3 square. So it's written in forms of two squares, so it's always bigger than or equal to 0, and it can be 0 even when not all the x's are 0. And therefore the matrix A is only positive semi-definite. Let's take one more matrix A, which looks like this. So let's immediately compute the determinants of the principal submatrices. The first one is 2, just that one. And then the second one is taking this little square here and work out it's -19. And the third one is the determinant of the whole matrix here, and you work out it's -2 to 3. And we see that they are mixed. Some are positive, some are negative, and therefore the matrix A is not positive semi-definite. And we can write out the corresponding quadratic form in the same way. You write it out and you have that. And we can check it with certain numbers and to see if we get mixed sign. So indeed, if you put in 1, 0, 0, you get 2, which is positive. And if you put 1, -1, 0, and then you get -5, which is negative. So there is a counterpart of the Sylvester theorem. We looked at the version where you have positive semi-definite and positive definite, and you can have a counterpart for the negative semi-definite and negative definite matrices. So here's the following. For a symmetric matrix A to be negative semi-definite, the criterion is the following. That is, all the principal submatrices AK will have determinant changing the sign. So it's less than equal to 0 for K odd and bigger equal to 0 for K even. And for the negative definite case, it changes sign as well, but then it will be strictly less than 0 for K odd and strictly bigger than 0 for K even. So this case looks a little bit more complicated than the positive semi-definite version. And there you just have the determinant bigger than 0 or bigger than equal to 0. And here it actually needs to change sign. Each time you include one more, it changes sign. Then you take a 3 by 3 and it changes sign, and so on and so forth. Now we make a claim. The claim says A is negative semi-definite is equivalent to negative A is positive semi-definite. And let's look at a proof. So we can go to the property of the determinant. We see that for a matrix A, any matrix A, so here let's say take a matrix AK, the determinant of negative AK would be negative 1 to the power k times the determinant of AK. So it would equal to the determinant of AK if k is even, because this becomes 1. Otherwise, if k is odd, you get a negative sign. And then we can apply Sylvester's theorem. So if A is negative semi-definite, we have a criterion for that. That means the determinant of AK is bigger than equal to 0 if k is even, and is negative dak if k is odd. So this means the equivalent to the determinant of negative ak is bigger than 0. So then the negative a would be a positive semi-definite. Again, that's Sylvester's theorem. Let's take some examples. So we have a matrix like this. So we see that we need to check the determinants of the principal submatrices. So let's do it. So the first one is negative 5, and the second one will be this 2 by 2, and we get 16, and then the third one will be the 3 by 3, and we get 0. So we see that for k equals 1, this is less than 0, and when k is 2, this is bigger than 0. When k is 3, this is 0, which is less than equal to 0. So by Sylvester's theorem, we can say that this matrix here is negative semi-definite. So again, we can do a direct computation of the quadratic form. It would take this expression, so and you can group them, and using the same trick as we have seen to make them into two squares, and we see we can get them like that. So this term is positive and this term is positive, but there's negative sign in the front. So this whole thing is less than equal to 0. And then this expression also can be 0, and when the x1, x2, x3 are not all zeros, and therefore it's only negative semi-definite. We have reached the end of this lecture about positive definite matrices and quadratic forms. And next time we will use these knowledges to study the problem where one wants to find the local maximum and local minimum. So I hope you enjoyed this lecture, and I'll see you next time.